Welcome everybody to Revolution Dude, and today I'll be doing something different. We'll be discussing the Far Cry Towers and why it was such a good gameplay mechanic. Now, the first Far Cry to ever introduce this to you was 2008's Far Cry 2. There was 4 maps scattered around 2 parts of the maps, and you'd go there and unlock this box and get a creepy caller telling you to go to a destination and eliminate your target. Now, this target was never important to you because you were in there for the diamonds, but you didn't notice the more important part of it. On your way there, you actually crossed a quarter of the map, always. You'd explore so much and it was good. Afterwards, the became a bit tedious, but the experience and the safe houses and the caches you got on the way there was so invaluable. So you get there and you notice that you learn so much more. You know this character, it's an open world, but it is its own character. And that's the beautiful part about Ubisoft. They know how to create the third antagonist here, or protagonist. Depending on which situation you are, the world is its own character. Now you get there with the new experience and new everything, and you need to take down your target. Now you can do this any way you want, because the 360 approach still applies from even this game. Now you eliminate your target and boom, you play the game and you end the game, and people were wondering what will happen to the future of Far Cry. Now Ubisoft knew what was going to happen. They bought the IP and they knew they were going to make a franchise out of it. So they went and took all the important criticism from Far Cry 2 and made it into a beautiful game afterwards. There was criticism towards the stealth because you couldn't sneak. There was criticism towards the story because you were doing stuff, and eventually the game ended for no reason because you didn't know what was going on. The villain, the Jackal, was so monotonous that it didn't work. So 4 years later came 2012's Far Cry 3, and it was so much better, the highest ranking on IGN till date, and it was beautiful. Now to the premise of this video, we're gonna do some simple thing. We're gonna state a rule I made, the explanation rule. The explanation rule goes as follows: the more you know the why, the less important a task will feel. So here we start the explanation rule. There's a tablet on this table, and when you pick it up, you don't know what you're going to do with it, but it's your map if you know it. This map you're currently picking up, you're going to leave it behind on a tower and run this skill there in front of you. And the tablet works as your new map. It's like a small homage to your Far Cry 2 roots where paper was your map, but no, tablets are your map. It's 2012. We're not savage beings no more. So you use your tablet, and then it explains to you: climb towers, remove cameras, and get access to the satellite. So it's like putting on off airplane mode, and boom, you get access to the internet. You can explore the map, and you don't leave the island or call anyone because it's a private island in sorts. There's no embassies, there's no government, so calling out would have been useless. So your task was saving your friends, and you're already indoctrinated by this Dennis dude to get a gun and shoot people to death. And killing your first enemy with a knife already took an emotional impact on Jason, so he already expected to do stuff himself. Now, the tower lies in front of us, the elusive tower that was created for this game. It stood out. There was no criticism towards this. Did you notice this? It was so fully fledged out, and that's because of the explanation rule. It was explained to you that you need to climb it to reveal your map. You see the enemies on the map and stuff. And it wasn't forced on you, except for this first one. But if you didn't do it, you'd have a more survival gameplay. The map wasn't there, you'd still have a compass, and you'd still have a direction to go, and you'd be playing a survival game. If you unlock the tower, you'd get a more adventurous game. You venture into the jungle, you get the statues, you get this letters from World War II, and it was an adventure, action adventure to be precise. And everyone saw how this was so beautiful. You see Mad Max copying this, you see Horizon Zero Dawn copying this with the tall necks, and that's why the game industry got fed up with towers. People saw how beautiful it was in Far Cry, and I believe it should come back to Far Cry because it's the home for towers. They do beautiful stuff with it. It's their formula. Their formula made them so unique. They started with in 2007's Assassin's Creed 1, and now they continue it, and they dropped it in Far Cry 5. And I don't know why, but they can bring it back and it still make it fun. Now, the tower because you're climbing was full of adventure. Climbing it was like adrenaline rush. You hear the wind blowing, you hear the corrugated metal here, swaying and creasing in the wind. You feel your screen moving left to right. You feel the nausea if you're afraid of heights, and this was beautiful. There's your first glimpse of an outpost. You never knew that, but now you do. So this tower was such an introduction to the world. It opened the world, literally. It opened the world to you. You saw this island in a different light. You jumped from it and you landed on the ground. Up there you had the finger on the trigger, but now you're not. Now you need to regain that trigger. So you unlock this tower and you get valuable information. Here you see, you unlock the map. And if you didn't notice, while you're busy climbing this tower, it went from dark to light. And I mean, like, that's a metaphorical view of how you ascend from your darkness to the divinity you're gonna get. You're gonna succeed. And that's the towers. They meant something more. And then you get this beautiful payoff of a zipline. I mean, Far Cry 1 did the ziplines, but that was bad. Now you get this beautiful adrenaline rush zipline, and then you get down to Dennis. And Dennis will finish the why. He's finishing the explanation to why the map is important. Now he opens the map to you and it shows you, you're in a foreign country, bruh. You need a map. Otherwise you're a die-hard survivalist, as I explained earlier. Now it explains to you how many towers there is, where the animals are marked on the map, where different locations are, and how you get new weapons. Now see, because you removed the scrambler, you get access to the outside world, but the shopkeepers, they want more weapons. I mean, this is a war-torn island. It's struggle between drugs and slave trade, and it's bad. So you dare to get your friends back. Now they tell you to mark a map, and there you go forward with the game in general. Now this was nothing different. Now you see our explanation rule. Never in Far Cry 3 you felt, oh schmuck, this tower is, I don't feel it for it today. The towers were unique in gameplay, the puzzles weren't that hard, and yet 2 years later the towers would make a return. 2 years later, basically a whole reskin would come in the 2014's Far Cry 4. I mean, if you look at Far Cry 1 and what they did to it to achieve Far Cry 2, it was immensely a gradient that was high. They did the same gradient when it came to 224. But then you get Far Cry 4 and it was just a reskin. The disappointment in me was high. I mean, I joined the game, but I was expecting more. There need to be more. Three things they added was the chopper, the grappling hook, and the arena. And the guns weren't even nice. So you were disappointed with this, and they're seeing apart from this problem, they didn't even have a tutorial. I tell you, the why is more important than the how, and they didn't even give you any of these two, and it was bad. But yet the towers were still here, and I think they rely too much on the fact that people will know their game. Now that this is the tower I went to showcase this video, because it was the most fun to climb. I mean, there was so much adventure zones. If you go and watch the gameplay reveal, they named this area as adventure zones, where you traverse through the mountains. And I think the towers in Far Cry 3 actually made a big inspiration towards the game, because that actually alluded to verticality in this game. You get to play more mountains. Okay, so introduction to the towers were made as follow. Sabal tells you to go climb a tower and change the frequency. There's a guy on a bed screaming in pain. I mean, dude, you live in a mountainous area. If you can't climb a tower, you deserve to be in pain. But hey, that's my opinion. Now, you go and change the frequency. You get this a grappling hook at the process, and it's awesome. I mean, the grappling hook's the great. It's like the wingsuit of Far Cry 4. It was something different. Now, you climb this tower and you change the frequency, and for some stupid reason, your map is being revealed in front of you. I mean, if I went to my radio, changed the radio frequency, and boom, a map revealed to me on my tablet or my phone or my Google Maps or something, I would say witchcraft. And they expected this to fly in Far Cry 4. In Far Cry 4, it's the first game to actually drop in an IGN score from 9 to 8.5, and they did this because they thought the base would understand. And I believe in the simple fact of explaining the why, not the how. And they didn't explain why they climbed the tower. They just said, we don't want to listen to this music, come change it for me please. They didn't explain to you anything. So I think that's the big detrimental problem they had. And I don't know if the same people have the same opinion as me, but I believe the towers could have been something special in Far Cry 5. They could have made it like a mountain was a tower. You climb a mountain, you map the area. But that's essentially my opinion, and I would like to hear from you guys. If you can drop a comment down below in the comment section, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and maybe we could have a civil discourse on this, because the towers was something unique. I mean, look at this, you change the frequency and it messed up the whole formula. And I think this was the final nail in the coffin. People didn't like the towers because it was too puzzly and it was too unexplained and all of those stuff. So as I said, leave a comment if you have something to add to this video, leave a like if you think I did something right here, and thank you for watching everyone, and have a nice day.